Yo! Video games.
What up, dudes, and welcome back to the YoVideogames podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Andrew.
And once again, thank you to all our generous patrons who kept us going for over 500 episodes.
Yeah, if you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames. Dude of the week is Kiona.
Thank you, Kiona.
Been dude with us for like a long time. Appreciate you. Thank you. Years.
Andrew's like, I didn't want to do math today.
It's 40 months. I don't know how long that is. A lot of months. But thank you. We have, I guess I should talk about the fact that I murdered my beard. This
You
is
did.
A week ago, there was no beard at all. It was just stubble.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's short beard, I guess, or long stubble. What is that? What do they call that? It feels like
Not 5 o'clock shadow, but whatever.
Yeah, it's like the long. I don't know. The Manosphere was obsessed with it for a little while, and I got it here natural. You know what you do is you just don't cut it.
I gotta do something with my own thing before it gets out of control. But luckily I found a great barber shop. So,
oh yeah, it looks good right now. You if it gets long enough, you get into the scrote era. Where you got to start cutting at weird spots so that it doesn't look like a ball sack hanging from your face. And then when you get past that phase, it can look pretty good.
If you get past that. So how we're in March now, which is crazy. The year's flying by. How are you? How is your February treating you? Did you or did you not play Resident Evil 9?
I am a third of the way through Resident Evil 9.
A third, he says.
Yeah. So it turns out my dog watches TV with us. He's a reactive dog. And ever since he's realized that like things happen on the TV, he now sits directly next to me and watches me play games, watch TV, whatever it is. And if you thought Resident Evil 9 was spoopy before, the moment a zombie or a weird noise or someone takes a swing, have a 50-pound dog jump on you barking. So I'm going real slow. I think I'm just about to go finish like the first third just after the clinic or whatever. And I've been there for hours. I've also, I didn't think about this until just recently because I saw a tweet about it, but I've been killing pretty much everything. Okay. Like not everything, but like I killed Chunk, I killed the chef, I killed both the screen. Like I was just like, well, I'm not leaving that behind me, and I did the thing without really thinking about like obviously these hemolytic or like the hemolytic injectors or whatever, probably pretty rare. And granted, I mean, if you're going to use them, I guess use them on a mini boss or whatever. So I have like loads of the charms. But then I realized like I'm about to go into probably an area like when the blisters showed up, because I had the lock picks and I did all the thing. Like I had a bunch of Requiem ammo. So I was like, well, screw these blister guys. But then not thinking about the fact that like I'm going to need that. So I'm going into the next area.
How did you get through survival horror games before this?
Look, in my defense, anybody that's watched me play a survival horror game, I probably do not play them well. No, that's not true. I did great at RE4. I also did great at RE7. But having a dog breathing down your neck, he literally sits right here. And you've heard my dogs bark. Yeah. So it's like, that's the most stressful thing. He sits right next to me and won't lay down, won't chill out. Right? He just like watches the TV. And it's just like, and so I'm killing everything before they can make too much noise, basically, is what's happening. And it's working out great right now. It's just not going to work out for the next area. I know it. I'm out of everything. Although, at least with Leon's parts, that doesn't matter. I just use the tomahawk and everything and sharpen it.
Yeah.
I think I've shot people less as Leon than I have.
Wow. Okay.
Because I'm using the tomahawk.
When I realized that the hemoglobic, whatever, the injectors are rare, like super rare, and I was like, well, there's no way I can kill every zombie, prevent every zombie from becoming a blister head.
Yeah.
That's when I realized, like, well, fuck it. I'm just not going to kill most things.
Yeah.
And most of the times it's just like maim them, drop them, get them out of the way, and then move on. And honestly, to me, it's like, well, a zombie is an annoying zombie is less of a pain in the butt to deal with than a blister head. So if I never pop them, I actually don't know if regular zombies just turn into blister heads. I think you get to drop them
I
before
think you
they
have to
turn.
kill them, and it's random on whether or not they turn into it.
Because I only had like one, maybe I think two blister heads in that area up here. One was right in the way where I needed to go, which was
The
really
cold
annoying.
storage, yeah.
Yeah, to cold storage.
Yeah, that
I
one
wonder-
turns into a blister head no matter what.
Yeah, I guess so. So I ended up basically running up and down the stairs with him, to distract him. Then there is like a flaming canister at the top of the stairs, to really help you deal with that guy. But yeah, it's like getting him. If you get him to the third floor and run away fast enough, he kind of he'll lose interest or whatever, long enough for me to get into the cold storage. So
Look, there's a decent chance I'm gonna have to restart my playthrough just because I went ham.
No.
I have so many healing items.
Yeah.
Like I have so many. You know what my favorite thing that I found out? Like there's a bunch of. I've been playing almost entirely in third person, but if you play in first person, you can peek corners.
Right.
So finding that out, and then also finding out that the guys with like the IV poles, especially the blind guy that hates noise and he's got the IV pole, one shots everything.
Yeah, apparently it one shots the chef, which I was super annoyed with because I don't know what happened with my game, but that the maid who's cleaning in that room, I tried to get him to kill her. He just swung and swung and swung around her, clipping through her. Nothing happened. I'm like, oh, and I was actually super disappointed because I was like, oh, the zombies don't interact with each other. That's actually really disappointing. But apparently there's a whole trophy behind it.
Yeah.
And yet somehow my game just glitched out and taught me, oh, they don't interact with each other. You can't get them to hit each other. I'm like, well, that's annoying. Because I did that and I was trying to get Chunk to eat other zombies.
I didn't know that he could do that.
I don't know if he can or not.
Okay.
I don't think he can, but there was a point where like there was a bunch of zombies that got let loose in an area, and then like I kind of made Chunk go in that area, and then the next time I went there weren't really any zombies there. So I don't know if he ate them or they just wandered off.
That'd be kind of wonderful. That would be generally wonderful. I also, for too long into the game, I thought the zombies would be like light sensitive. And so I wouldn't use the flashlight. Like I wouldn't shine the flashlight.
I see.
And they don't care. Like the lighter, the one monster that's attracted to light or whatever. What's her name? The girl.
Yeah, it's called like the girl, I think. That's it.
Yeah, and like so I was being sparing with the light. No reason to be sparing with light. Just have the lighter open. Just have it open all the time. Yeah. Who gives a shit? Just run through. Did not know that. All the special upgrades. I have done no health upgrades. I've only done like the upgrades to my stability and power. So I don't know if that's gonna bite me when I get to a proper boss fight or not, but I have like all of my healing items. I think I've healed once.
It's not. You're fine.
But I realize, I'm playing this game entirely wrong, and I'm playing it extraordinarily slowly. I should have got it on PC. If I would have got it on PC, I wouldn't have had a dog looking over my shoulder. My dog.
I guess, that's one thing to consider. I mean, since it is, you're not far into it, but early game, we're talking like, the first 10 minutes. Can we talk about how stupid the FPS is in this game?
Yes.
Like not just Grace, but also her boss and everything is just so hilariously bad, like, like in a way where it's like, how did Grace not go through any firearm, like realistic firearm training or any training? Why is her boss sending her alone into a
Oh,
crime scene that she's kind of connected to? Like, why is nobody going with her? Why is there just like one lone, like, beat cop,
yeah, she's a desk job analyst. She's not a field agent. She's not an
Yeah.
agent. She's just an
You
analyst.
wouldn't send someone into the field without field agent training.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm imagining that he assumed that it was secured by the police and not like, didn't need field agents there. But yeah, no, it is incredibly dumb. I do think people that are like, oh, how come she can't handle a firearm? Like, you get 2 weeks of firearms training. Like, unless you're an HRT,
Well,
which is like the
either
rescue
way,
guys.
the whole like you're sending
You
her
don't.
to an active crime scene that's unsolved, and then her alone, where she gets into the room at the beginning of the game. There's a bed full of photos of her, and then like a burner phone starts ringing. So what does she do? Picks it up and answers it. Like,
Yeah, it's rude to just let it ring. I don't know why you're.
fuck.
What do you?
Like,
What do you mean? If I'm sorry, if I go into a room and there's a
she's
bed covered in photos of me and some pervert starts calling me right there on the bed, I answer. I don't know where this you buy the ticket, you take the ride. Okay?
she's so
You
dumb.
find out is is there semen on that phone?
But I mean, this kind of like goes
Definitely.
back to like the whole thing where it's like, look, man, even like our favorite game in the franchise is full of stupidity like this.
Yeah, it's goofy as hell.
Like goofy, like, and I'm not saying this as a knock on the game, but to me, it's always just funny how they're like, they do this very serious grounded FBI thing, and I'm like, wow, none of this is like protocol at all, like, and this is actually quite stupid. Just like you sending one lone dude into a Spanish countryside to find the president's daughter. Oh, and he finds her. Oh, we'll send one helicopter. Oh, it got shot down. Bummer. We're gonna have to see if we can find another one. It's like, no.
Yeah. I mean, I've always sort of loved there's like a fan edit somewhere on YouTube, I think, where it's like he says he's got her, and then it just cuts to the flight of the Valkyries and all the missiles firing. Like it's that like or it's not Flight of the Valkyries, it's
Mars, maybe.
no, it's
Bring her
I think
up
it's
war.
Fortunate Son.
Mm.
It's Credence. It's Credence and Clear. Yeah, it's Credence Clearwater. Let me. Uh,
But either way, it's just kind of funny that I'm like, oh, we'll send one evac chopper and it gets shot down, and oh, it'll take some time to send another one. It's like
yeah,
the first family being kidnapped by a bunch of cultists. Like, I'm sorry, that countryside's gone very quickly.
yeah. There's just like it's a company of rangers just getting airdropped in.
A lot. Well, there's just so many things would happen, and there'd just be so many dead cult people. Like,
Whole area. He confirms where it is, and he pops green smoke, and then there's just an AC-130 circling around, leveling everything else.
pretty much.
I do think if they made a DLC like that, that would be very funny. Like it's a Call of Duty DLC where you're the AC-130 gunner.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. There should have been a really. I thought there would have been a really fun horde mode, like maybe in remake, but obviously nothing like this happened. Where it's like, let's say yearly, like they do this alternate scenario where it's like you get to the church and you got Ashley, and then a multiplayer mode starts where a squad of rangers drop in, and like the village is sending all hordes of ganados and el gigantes and all their bad stuff. So you're basically holding down the church. You create a perimeter. You're holding down the church, and all these waves of enemies are coming at you. And then like you earn kill streaks or like call-ins, and you AC-130 thing is you're just seeing like the big troll monsters just get exploded and stuff.
It would make for a terrible horror game. Amazing action moment though.
Right. Well, it'd be a bonus mode. It's an unlock mode. It's like, in an alternate scenario. I just thought that would mean, man, wouldn't that be so cool to like have like a little hard mode where, realistically what happens? Okay, immediately a bunch of help comes in and they just start like frying the whole country.
So you've beaten 9.
I beat 9, yeah.
Leon doesn't die.
I mean, do you want that spoiler or not?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You want the spoiler in the podcast?
Yeah. Leon doesn't die. And
It's
they're
your
cowards.
choice.
There's
There
just
you
no
go.
way.
Spoiler. It depends on what you do.
Yeah, but one's a good ending for sure. There's a good ending and a bad ending, and I guarantee you they're cowards. They didn't do it. They should have. They should have. They also should have killed Chris in 6, but again, cowards.
Really does feel like Chris
Was supposed to, and
was
Piers was
and they
supposed to
just
take over.
yeah, and they
Yeah.
just kind of like swapped Piers for Chris.
Yeah,
some point through development of 6. So
they absolutely should have killed these characters off, because the thing that, and God, I know there's going to be so many fans mad at me right now, but the thing that made Resident Evil cool, in my opinion, especially in the early ones, was the idea that it was like regular ass people that like got, yes, okay, Chris is a rescue guy, and he's technically a SWAT member, but in 2 it's a rookie cop, and Chris's sister, who is a biker presumably. 3, okay, we're back with the stars members and stuff, but like the outbreak was really cool because it was just random people. 0 is cool
Yeah.
because it's a Billy is a actually, is Billy just like a regular ass convict? I can't remember that.
Ex-Marine, I think.
Yeah, but then he's also just like, he's been arrested for something.
Well, he's a defector, yeah. And Rebecca's just a very fresh medic on an EMT team.
Yeah, but the whole idea that it was like, randos, nobody was like a super agent or like, it's just, we need to get back to that, where like people, like random one-off characters, yeah, okay, say what you want about Ethan.
I think that's the idea with Grace. Grace is like a newcomer and not really equipped for this, and not really, that it's because the game is very much serving 2 different audiences here, because there's a survival horror game with a newbie, there's a action horror game with a veteran, and it's very much like intentional how they're kind of like trying to serve both sides of the fandom.
And to be clear, I'm loving the game thus far. The survival horror elements are some of the best in ages. Like, it is really well done. I just think that a clean break would be a better.
Right. Well, I mean, this is
Maybe
my feeling, is that I think it's a really good game. I said it was 8.5. Some people are, I've already gotten heat for being critical of the parts I'm critical, even though I think it's probably it's easy top 10 of the franchise. Somehow, but that's not good enough for a lot of people. But anyways, it is a game that's like half a delicious roll of sushi and half a delicious slice of pizza. It's 2 very different things, and both of them are very good, but neither of them are complete. So you're not getting a full, complete survival horror game. You're not getting a full, complete action horror game. You're getting 2 halves of each.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I'm not that far into it.
Way more apparent the further you get in.
Yeah, like there's things that I like about both. There's nothing really that I dislike thus far. Mm-hmm. It's just that, like, I'm kind of on the same page where it's like commit, and also I don't need them to rehash old characters. It's okay to move on.
Oh, no, it's not.
It is okay.
Apparently not for this fandom.
I have seen and heard spoilers that we won't repeat here for people to not get spoiled like I have, even though I don't care about spoilers. But I know that there's plenty of like masturbatory fan service member berries type stuff. And it's like the gameplay for the survival horror area is good enough that I don't think they needed it. They didn't need that crush.
Correct. Right.
They could have just, Resident Evil 7 was good enough that having one of the biggest marks against Resident Evil 7 when it came out was that weird jank Chris that showed up at the very end.
Yeah.
And it's like, you could have just not had Chris at all in the game, or Neo Umbrella at all in the game, and it would have been fine. Like, people would have moved on. We can do that. And I love Leon. Leon's my favorite of the original survivors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Leon's my favorite of the original survivors. I had to think about it for a second in case I was forgetting somebody, but he is. RE4, fantastic. But it's okay. He can die.
Thing
He
is,
can
I
die.
don't think I don't
Give him
even
an ending.
think
He doesn't need
I
to
don't
die, but give him
even
an ending.
I don't even think this is going to be the end of the member berries of the nostalgia fuel. I think I think it's going to continue at least a little longer.
Well, I mean, you think with like another game, like the next game is going to be Chris or
Something like I don't think they're done with the original cast.
I had a weird thought where I was like, if they're going to lean into the Hound Wolf thing with Chris, the next game being, like kind of how, what is it, Revelations 2, where Barry shows up actually prepared.
Yeah.
He's got like an AK and stuff. It's like having a game that is semi Metal Gear Solid / Resident Evil, where like the Hound Wolf shows up. It's the beginning of the game, and like his whole team dies, and he has to like figure it out. I thought that would be a cool like return to Rockford Island or whatever. Very Shadow Moses esque, but Resident Evil. But then I also am of the mind that it's okay to let Chris go. If they're gonna stick with the originals, at least bring Jill back. Like have a PJ. We haven't seen her in a long time. We haven't seen Rebecca in a long time. We haven't seen Sheva in a long time. They're never gonna do Sheva again. But we haven't seen any of these people. I don't need to see Chris every game. I don't need to see Leon every game.
Well, it's crazy to think of it this way, where the last game to introduce a returning character was 2. Where like, as far as I'm aware, like nobody introduced in 3 ever, like Carlos never returned, right?
Right. Well, I mean, Jill returns,
but she's from 1. You know what I mean? Like you
don't.
They don't they have never not introduced a new character since 2 that's returned, right? So because 3 is Jill again, and Code Veronica is Claire and Chris. Steve dies. Boo. 0 introduces Billy, but Billy never showed up again. And 4 has Leon. Lewis dies, and Ada comes back. In RE4, and nobody new is introduced. Sheva's introduced in 5, and she's gone. Piers is introduced in 6, and he's gone. Jake's gone. As well.
Yeah, everyone forgets about Jake.
Helena's gone from RE6. Sherry was playable in that game, but Sherry was also introduced in 2. And then Ethan, I guess technically Ethan, because 7 and 8 is Ethan's story. So Ethan showed up immediately from 7 to 8, and then we're done with Ethan. So I guess I can amend that statement to say except for Ethan, but Ethan's gone now, like dead now. They did 1, 2, and people weren't really happy with him anyways. Nobody really liked him.
Well, that's because he was born as a VR character, and so he had no personality in the first game, which neither did Chris.
Yeah, neither. It's true. We really didn't. So we introduced Grace now, but there's like, I would say, a low probability we see Grace again.
It's too bad because she's maybe the first character that we've seen have actual character growth and change within their game.
Kind of. There's things about her voice direction, because I'm not going to say the acting. I'm not going to say it. The acting is very good, and she's doing exactly what she's being directed and in the script she's reading. But I have weird issues with the direction and the script writing with her specifically in the game.
What, like the stuttering bothers
you? Yeah,
you?
because it comes and goes, and she's still doing it at the very end of the game, even after she's been through an insane amount of things and done some very heroic, brave things. And then when she'll be talking, and then all of a sudden, like if it's a sentence that begins with a W or an I word, she stammers it like crazy.
Well, I mean, are we assuming that her stutter is a speech impediment, or is it?
I don't know, because because it comes and goes. Like I said, like part of me was like, if this was sort of like, yeah, she has a natural, I'd be like, yeah, okay, cool. That there's nothing wrong with that. But then she still says sentences like really scared and timidly, and the amount of things she's gone through at that point in the game is like, okay, you really, I mean, you've done so much more than like, oh, what do we, there's this whole like, what are we gonna do? She has like, what are we gonna do moment at the end of the game, and I'm like, you have done so much already. And then like after that moment, she'll have sentences where she's not scared anymore, and she's speaking plainly and calmly, and it's very much this. I don't know
just
what
inconsistent.
It is. It's weird. It's like, I don't know. It's like listening to like Joe Biden in the body of a 20-year-old girl. Like, I don't know.
Is
like,
she calling everybody Jack? My name's Leon. Whatever, Jack. Whatever.
So I don't know. It's a weird thing that at first it was like I kind of noticed it halfway through, and then I'm like, I started paying attention to it, and then it was like, oh my god, this is like so consistent or like constant. Like, I'm like, dude, you did this like 3 lines in a row, like stammer sentence, character tells her something. It's not even like a tense situation. Character just tells her something. Scared, stammer again. Character tells her thing. 3rd line, scared, stammer, and then like her 4th line is totally fine, like normal sounding. So I'm like, what is going on? Like,
yeah, it hasn't bothered me yet, or I haven't noticed it yet. But
I started noticing it like again, like a halfway through the game, and then when you got to the point where I'm like at the very end of the game, and I'm like, and it's kind of like flowing, it's kind of coming and going, and I'm like, why are we doing this?
you know what? I got to beat the game this weekend. Is what I'll do. Is I'll play it on headphones late at night when my dog won't stay up, because every good dog has a bedtime. And normally he bullies me to join him, but I'll force him to sleep on the couch.
It's not it's not a game breaker or nothing. It's just kind of like something where I'm like, this is a very odd choice. And I'm sure the idea was, well, she's scared, she's a newbie, she doesn't have training, she's not a hero. And I'm like, neither was Claire, really, not really Rebecca.
Neither was Leon. Leon was a fresh from the academy.
Neither was her mother, an Outbreak, neither was Ashley Graham. She never did like gotten in these weird, like, scaredy cat, like, ways of saying all her lines. It's like, I'm sorry, but like so many characters who have no military or police training or background whatsoever, and are just completely, like you said, random everyday people thrown into like terrifying situations. Nobody has the sort of like the shivers the way Grace does in this game. And at first you totally get it, but there's a moment in the game, and you might have even already gotten to it, where she does something almost insane. But it's very like, it's really nut up or shut up at the end of the hospital ward area.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And at that point you're just kind of like, okay, well, she's nutted up now, she's locked in, but she still does it. So it's just kind of like, okay.
No one's locked in until you got a 12 gauge.
I don't know. It's just
nothing in
like
Resident Evil scary anymore once you have a 12 gauge.
It's just a weird thing where by the end of the game, I kind of expected it to be, because I assumed this was going to be kind of like her character growth, was that she's scared, she stammers, she's shaky, she holds the gun all like, wobbly. And by the end of the game, she's confident, she's gone through multiple different things, and she's ready to like save the day, save the, whatever character, do what needs to be done. And she is, but she also still is very scared when she talks on like half of her lines at the end. And I'm like, why?
Well, it feels the game's like only like 14 hours long, right?
Or less.
So if I really buckle down and play it, I'll beat it this weekend.
Probably.
I think I have like 6 hours into it. I'm still just after the moon door.
It's a very good game, though. I mean, that's the thing that shouldn't get lost in the fact that it is still a very good game. But there's some weird quirks in it. I'm very much enjoying it. I'm wondering if they'll do DLC. Has that been confirmed? Has anyone said they're? I don't think they said, and that kind of leads to the whole thing where the Capcom had this complete waste of time. Capcom Direct. I know they said they're going to do a survey for it. I need to fill it out. I have no idea what the point of this Direct was, other than a couple of things that could have been in a freaking tweet. you know, where it's like, oh, we're gonna have updated information on our upcoming titles, and it was so. I mean, okay, see, nothing really got announced. They bumped up the release date of Pragmata, which cool. I mean, that's
By
great.
a week, right? Yeah.
Yeah, by a week, which could have been a tweet. You know, we got to see a really ugly, you know, terrible looking amiibo for the robot girl.
Also,
And then
that robot girl's creepy.
yes, and we also got. I mean, the most significant chunk of new thing was like, oh, we're going to talk about the new Mega Man game for next year, but it's really just talking about the character design contest, and just like here's the 6 finalists. Okay,
And there was cool stuff in that, but not what I signed up
no
for.
gameplay, nothing about the game itself, really. So it's like, okay, that's kind of neat or whatever. But and then just a lot of regurgitated information. Hey, we're selling a bundle for Resident Evil 9. Great. You know, here's Monster Hunter Stories 3. It comes out next week. It's gonna have DLC. The funniest thing to me was that, like, you know, we're gonna launch the game with free DLC costumes. I'm like, why are they DLC?
Yeah, just put them in there.
I'm like, I mean, it's launch day. It's free DLC that's going to be available at the launch of the game for these new costumes. And I'm like, then just put them in the game.
That makes me think that they didn't think they'd have that stuff done.
Yeah.
And so they shipped it,
Mhm.
and then they got it done, and they were like, well, then we'll just add it in.
We'll add it. Yeah, and that's the most sensible, likely scenario right there. The one thing I thought was dystopian as fuck was they're like, if you register for a Capcom ID, we'll give you, you know, a little costume in the game of a character wearing the Capcom logo on their head. Which I was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, register for a Capcom ID so we can give you a costume that just says Capcom, you know, in bright blue on the Palico cat in the game. And I'm like, that's like some weirdly dystopian thing. Give us your data that we can sell to Google, and we'll give you a company logo branded hat. It's like,
The most exciting thing about that whole presentation was the arcade game that I don't even think we'll be able
oh
to find
yeah,
here.
Resident Evil 2 arcade. Oh my god, the first 3 things they were talking about was like a Japanese exclusive, and they said worldwide tour for the Symphony. I hope so, because like it's like 3 Japanese exclusive things where they're like, we're gonna do something because they've actually been doing that again. They've been doing this for a while. They do Halloween Horror Nights, Resident Evil stuff in Universal Japan, just Universal Japan. I have no idea why. Like that shit would go over so well out here. But yeah, they've been doing Halloween Horror Night live stage show in mazes in Japan for a long time. Some of it even canon. And
That's
they've
cool.
yeah, and they've done, and they're like, and then we're going to talk about this Resident Evil 2 arcade machine that'll have we're going to location test in Japan. Thanks. And then they're like, and then here's a concert. I'm like, and we also don't get many of those. And like they said worldwide tour, so maybe. But it's very much just sort of like, why are you showing this in your global English presentation when it's going to mean nothing to anyone?
That arcade game could end up in like Vegas.
There's nowhere in Vegas to put it, unfortunately. Your best hope now is round ones.
I guess, but or there's got to be like a big arcade. There's got to be a big arcade somewhere in the States that would get it.
Round one's your best bet. That's where Scarlet Dawn showed up.
Well, we'll go there and we'll play that game.
I hope it's good. I hope it's good. Resident Evil and Light Guns have a very poor history.
Yeah, well, the only one that I can think of is Umbrella Chronicles.
Umbrella Chronicles, Darkside Chronicles, Survivor, Dead Aim,
right.
and Resident Evil Survivor 2, Code Veronica, which you can play Galloping Ghost. It is terrible.
Yeah, I can't think of any of those games that I have a good memory with.
They're all bad. No, they're all terrible.
Yeah, they're not good.
So yeah, I don't.
The one you play as like Wesker. Isn't there one where you play as? Yeah,
Umbrella Chronicles.
That is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Adult canon too, apparently, right? They have canon stories.
Yes. No. Well, as you'll see with 9, this isn't kind of spoiler for, but not really, because if you paid attention to like Remake 3, Remake 4, especially, you already know they're retconning the crap out of the timeline.
Well, they're cleaning it up for sure.
Well, they're absolutely retconning stuff. They already retconned stuff in 3 and 4, like wholesale retconned. So
Like what example do you have? Because off the top of my head,
in 3 they talked about the Las Plagas parasite already being like researched and developed in 3 in 1998.
Right.
And then in 4 remake, a lot of things changed. Krauser completely got retconned. He doesn't work for Wesker. He never worked for Wesker. He has no connection to Wesker. His motivation and connections are completely changed. Ada's is kind of as well. Kind of. She does still work with Wesker, of course, in remake and stuff. So, and then when you get into 9, you're going to see some. Oh boy.
They need to remake Outbreak, or just make a new Outbreak. It doesn't have to be a remake. Just make a new Outbreak.
This really would have been the great place to announce doing like an Outbreak remaster or remake.
That's what I thought they were going to do. I thought, well, I sort of, there's no way they would have kept it secret, but it would have been very cool for them to announce like, oh, later this year, there's a remake of whichever, or like a DLC or, just something that it's like 30-year anniversary. We're making an arcade game. Great. that you can't play. Awesome. This is great.
It's a very weird direct. It's very much one of those Comic-Con directs where they do World of Capcom, and it's literally all the same regurgitated information that's been out there for like a couple months, which Capcom loves to sort of like repeat information they've already given, and then like they throw like a couple new things in there. Here's some DLC costumes. We didn't announce that before, and I'm like, could have been an email.
I wonder if they do that just because they don't want people to forget. Like that's
right,
they just...
exactly. But I do think it's going. They're really, treading a line here of turning it into what was that stupid first person shooting everyone hated, a Deathloop. They're really treading water here. They're Pragmata's. If that game didn't demo so well, like that would have been like this generation's Deathloop. Honestly, like. If you keep talking about and showing, but one little more thing here and one little more thing, but this and this and then this and then it's like, okay, we are sick of seeing Pragmata. Just release the damn game. We just want to play it at this point. Like, stop talking about it. Like if we're sold, we're sold. There's no one left on planet Earth who doesn't know about the game. So.
I keep worrying, even though you have told me, and I could play the demo. I keep worrying that game's just not. It's not going to land for me.
It's a good demo, so here's hoping.
I just there's little weird. The kid just creeps the hell out. But the more they show the kid, the more I'm like, this is a creepy kid. This is weird. Something's not right here about this kid. Now, granted, it's like an AI kid. I get that, but still friggin' strange.
Yeah.
Also, there's this weird thing. This is sort of off topic. It's a nitpick that I've noticed with Capcom. Have you ever noticed the way they do the hair? It's like everyone's underwater.
Oh yeah, because they have crazy hair physics that they're doing, which is really funny because like the Series S and Switch 2 version of the game don't have that hair. They have like this like more just kind of like standard, just like standard stiff kind of hair look that doesn't really look particularly great. And then they do all this like tessellation hair, for next gen and high end PCs and stuff.
Yeah,
it looks good. It looks good on my PC. That's all I can really say. But I know it's looked weird before.
It looks good in game. It looks weird in cinematics where like there's so much detail and you can just see it moving. And it looks like they're underwater to move. I don't know.
The director Hamaguchi from the Final Fantasy VII remake director Rebirth, he was saying, because people are talking about that, it's like, yeah, this is kind of a thing where like you have he says like usually what happens with hair about that is usually when AI upscaler tech gets involved on things that are so tiny and thin and close together, and the image gets like kind of like jumbled. And he was saying that's usually like, he gave this really detailed explanation where he actually wasn't really hiding from the fact. I'm like, yeah, usually like, when you do things like hair physics like this and you have an upscaler, they usually kind of like produce weird effects with it. I'm like, yeah, well, at least he's honest.
Well, so the Capcom spotlight was
nothing,
was fine.
Burger.
Nothing really worth spending 35 minutes on. But there was a tweet we can talk about. There was something.
This was interesting.
It's a new code name.
So they're changing the code name from Magnus to Helix.
And this them being Asha Xbox, and Asha did a tweet today saying that they're going to have more information about Helix, which will play both Xbox and PC games. So it's a PC.
Right. So
It's a PC.
there's like that meme of that guy just going like, "Oh my god, he just said it out loud."
Yeah.
That's what
he just said it.
I read that tweet. I'm like, she just said it out loud right there. Like, it's a PC in a box. Like, it's a boxed PC. It's a set-top box PC. They just said it out loud.
Yeah, it's a Mac Mini made by Microsoft. Helix, is Helix a better name than Magnus? Who gives a shit? I guess. I guess.
You just ask yourself the real question.
Yeah. I tend to agree with Alana Pierce's point of view, where it's like, I don't know if we're going to get proper generations anymore. I think generations are dead, given with how expensive parts and everything is becoming. Like, I think the next generation is figuring out how to get you to do more cloud gaming. And cloud gaming, for any of you that have forgotten the last several years, every company, Stadia, what was Amazon's Azure? Was it
Azure or cloud service? Oh, you're talking about Luna.
Luna, thank you. Azure is like Microsoft's cloud thing, was it?
Yeah. Microsoft server.
Everybody had cloud stuff, and you're like, yeah, that failed. The early iterations did, but cloud gaming is here to stay. And this was, if you remember our last talk about this, a big push by Satya was cloud everything. I think you're going to see, like, where you have if there is a console at all, it'll be like a little interface thing that doesn't even actually
stick.
Yeah, it doesn't have any actual power and stuff. It's just for interfacing the controller or whatever accoutrements you want.
Yeah.
And it's cloud gaming. I'm of that opinion. I think that there's a strong argument for that's the way the industry is going to go, especially responding to... I think that's the way
the industry wants to go. I don't know if it will go.
Well, the industry wanted to become a TV everything box when Don Matrick talked about it, and we all said that was dumb, but look at what everyone's console is now.
Except the Switch. Switch actually walked back its integration with TVs from the Wii U.
Nintendo doesn't go the way the industry goes almost ever anymore. Not since the GameCube. Like, they haven't followed the industry trends.
The thing is, though, is that I don't know how many. I mean, I would actually, because I have a PS5, I have a Xbox, I have Switch 2, I have a PC, and I don't use my PS5 or my Xbox for browsing streaming services at all. I have a TV, and I have a big TV, and it can access Luna, it can access Xbox, and on the cloud, it can access all the streaming services, and I just use the TV. Like I'm talking about, like for Netflix or whatever, right? It's like I just use the TV to go to Netflix. I don't turn on my PS5 and then boot up a Netflix app on my PS5. That's like adding a whole extra step just to go to Netflix, where it's just like, or I could just swap to Netflix on the TV. You know what I mean?
And I'm just gonna say that you're probably not the typical snapshot of the customer or the end user.
You don't think so? You don't think smart TV integration is like that embedded in a lot of people now?
No, I do think smart TVs are all over the place. I have a smart TV, but what I'm saying is that for the majority of people, they will still choose to do it on whatever device.
I would love to actually know the metrics of this. I think it would be fascinating to know
there's got to be someone
what are the metrics of Netflix users are using PlayStation versus using TVs versus using
browser.
But yeah, like I think what you're saying here, I don't know if I don't think it's necessarily the future of gaming, but man, is it where they would like to go.
I think it's not just where they would like to go. I think now it's like chips and RAM and parts are so expensive, and they're only expected to get more expensive over
Yeah,
the next 5 years.
we're kind of like like railroading or painting ourselves into a corner where we kind of have to go this way, and maybe that's the plot. Maybe that is like the deep conspiracy theory plan all along
Well, I have a conspiracy theory. Do you
was
want to
to
hear my conspiracy theory?
generate. Sure.
Okay. They're building all these data centers for AI that isn't going to go anywhere, and you're going to have an AI crash like the dot-com bubble, right? But then you're going to have all this infrastructure that you have nothing to do with, which you can then also use for cloud compute.
Mm,
And so cloud compute is going to be so significantly cheaper than any of the alternatives. That will be what kicks cloud compute for like gaming, cloud gaming, entertainment,
mm.
but compute in general, where it's like everybody in an office now, they no longer have, even mini box PCs
Towers,
or
yeah,
laptops or tower. It's all like Chromebook style.
they have monitors and a little USB hub.
And it's just like, I think that is going to be how this goes. And so
Mhm.
we'll see like the AI crash. AI is not going to leave anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere. But it'll be like the internet in the early .com bubble where like it crashed, but all the infrastructure was still there. And so you're going to have this shift to use that infrastructure for something else.
Don't you just see the danger there, John?
Sure do.
Where if you put everything behind a server farm or someone's server farm, and then you have like a Cloudflare or whatever, or you put everything behind one single sourced location, and you can just cut that off. You could literally cut off the entire world where people could just be running. I mean, you've known people, I've known people who've had like a server, a little pizza, like one or two pizza box servers of their own, to like
Yeah.
host whatever, whatever on usually porn. But like
Usually porn.
but like having a PC tower with a bunch of RAM, and some hard drives and whatever, and having locally sourced stuff. So it's like
There's only one person I ever knew that got into the terabytes, and he's listening to this possibly. You know who you are, and shame.
no shame. But
No
but
shame.
like
Collect
okay,
your
like
porn, man. I don't know.
you know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, if the internet goes down, but I have a bunch of my games downloaded, I theoretically can just boot them up and start playing them. I'm losing my cloud save, but hey, I can boot them up and play them. If you were to say move the industry towards everything is just off a Roku Fire Stick,
Right.
equivalent, and then the internet goes down, well,
Yeah, and
goodbye.
they don't want you to own anything.
You literally can do nothing. You can play nothing, do nothing. You are just sitting there like,
Yeah.
just gone. Which is like they might try to push that angle because they're going to say like so many people adopted it with movies, but I think movies are a different story when it comes to like everything. When everything, if you just don't have a computer, period, that becomes an issue.
No, if it's convenient and it's cheaper than the other alternative, it'll take off. And I'm with you on physical media. I prefer to own my movies, for instance. I like to have discs on stuff.
I don't even need to own. Well, I mean, I need to own it. I don't need to have a physical thing of it, but like like a disc. But if I have it physically downloaded, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that this is a good direction that they're going to go. I'm arguing that this is the direction they're going to go, whether I like it or not.
Right.
That's my conspiracy theory. Is like you'll have the AI crash, and then they'll pivot, and because of it, they'll be able to make cloud so cheap and so convenient that that's the direction everything will go, and you won't have consoles anymore. You might not even have people building PCs anymore. You might not have your own PC. You might just have a smart monitor that connects.
Right.
Like,
no, I think that's where they want to go, but I think there's just a crazy inherent danger with that because that's going to take a lot of money. Like if everyone's doing it that way, the upkeep, server costs is going to be enormous on that.
right.
Which means subscriptions.
Yeah.
Which
You'll
means
own nothing.
which means further enshittification of services.
But you know what really subsidizes the cost? The AI boom failing. Because then they'll be able to buy that shit for pennies on the dollar.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
And that will kickstart it.
Either way, like as far as like this Xbox Project Helix is concerned, they literally said it in the tweet. I don't think the wording is, oh well, they didn't say you can, play Xbox and you'll be and PC games. They literally said Project Helix will play your Xbox and PC games.
Right.
We're not like, hey, we're going to take our next step towards the future of Xbox with Project Helix. Don't worry, you'll still be able to play PC games. No. The wording was very clear. Their next console will play PC games.
Yeah.
And Xbox games.
So very likely that Steam is going to be available on it, like you thought.
Absolutely. And they may not release games on Steam, but they might release like on their Xbox store, which you'll have to go through Xbox, and maybe they'll try that again. Which didn't work out from the first time. Maybe it will this time. Because I don't know. I don't know what Microsoft really expects to happen at this point. Where people are like, just bring the exclusives back to the console and don't charge so much, and we'll be there. And I'm like, no, you won't. First of all, but second of all, the problem is not even at this point. Now it's no longer about you just got to make your games exclusives. Now it's who's making games, what games,
right?
Like so many people have gotten laid off. So many people are going to get laid off. There was a new Schreier report talking about detailing in greater emphasis that Sony is shutting down its PC side of things. So in speculation is because Spider-Man 2 kind of sold pretty poorly on PC. Like it sold like 700,000 copies or something is the estimate. We don't have exact figures, but basically like it was like the fastest turnaround, and it sold just kind of nothing on PC. And to me, this is absolute insanity, because how are games costing $200 million, $300 million, and then you're going to cut off a major revenue source? I get it. Sony doesn't like the fact that when you put a game on Steam, they're losing 30% of the sale. If they put that same game on PlayStation, they get 100% of the sale, digitally speaking.
Yeah, well,
so it totally makes sense. To me, it would make more sense to people would hate it, but it would still be there. You still get some money, would be to create their own launcher. But and then the other side of the coin too is that another reason Sony kind of burned their bridge with PC gamers with that PSN login, where they started enforcing like every game has to you have to sign in on your PSN account on Steam, and then they kind of backpedaled it a little bit, but they still do it though a lot, and everyone fucking hated that, and it locks out a ton of the world. So it's kind of like they made this self-fulfilling prophecy of requiring a PSN subscription, even though more than half of the known world doesn't have the ability to make a PSN account. And then they wonder why like the PC sales start slowing down. And again, like they don't want a solution to the PC sales slowing down by doing their own launch for 100% of the profits. Their whole thing is just, all right, well, no more PC ports. Which then they bought a whole fucking studio, Nixxes, to do PC ports of their games.
They're going to close them down.
Yeah, people are like, well, they're going to be moved as a support studio for now. For now, until it's gone. The only reason it might survive is because it's Dutch, and Herman Holst is probably going to pull some, some maybe European developer, Dutch, that's too close to home. Like I could see him pulling some BS like that. Also, especially in the wake of how Blue Point's gone down for them. So I don't know. That's tinfoil hat, I know, but I would be very concerned to be working at Nixxes right now. Like, holy hell! Like our whole existence has been canned.
I was other than Nintendo, I don't think any of them are doing particularly. Xbox clearly not doing all that great.
Oh, dude! Xbox is a corpse walking at this point.
Yeah, limping its way home, if even. Sony, I think we all assume PlayStation is doing a lot better than it actually is. It is also limping.
I think Sony's kind of doing this weird kind of like why are you doing something that only kind of negatively hurts you? And a lot of people are saying is they're doing this because they want to drive the point home that you're going to need to buy a PS6 when a PS6 comes out, because all they're doing right now is training people to wait a year for the PC version of their games, which I
I-
kind of get that, but
Yes, I guess.
I guess, but also the games are not getting cheaper,
No.
and studios are getting closed, and you're losing that. You're losing those studios. You're losing them as support. You're losing them, as a portfolio expander. Like they're just they're bleeding talent.
Well, I mean, how we're at least 3 years from the next generation, probably, given all the
Sorry, I got something in my
setbacks.
teeth. I look like I'm like fucking like on coke or something.
No, you're just doing a Bobby Kotick impression.
Right? You should
Um,
you should swim in contaminated water. It builds up the antibodies really good.
ooh, a different K name. No, we're minimum 3 years away from the next generation, probably. Given all the setbacks, I think there was talk of a PS6, or the idea that Magnus, now Helix, was going to come out in like a year or two.
Yeah, like
Um,
late 27 to do it, which I
I
don't know.
sort
Who
of doubt
knows?
that's going to be the thing now. Um, yes, because of all the parts shortage, but also because the entire industry's kind of in an upheaval right now.
Honestly, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Helix is basically going to be a sacrificial lamb. Again, it's a PC in a box. It's probably going to cost a lot of money. It's probably going to cost $1,000 or more, maybe well over $1,000. And they won't even try to sell this at mass market. Maybe Best Buy, maybe. Like, they'll sell it through like one retailer, right? And then through Microsoft directly. And when it doesn't blow up, they literally go, well, the industry, changing times, fierce competition. We had to shut down.
No more
We had to shut
consoles.
down. We had to shut down the gaming division. And frankly, I feel Sony's just doing it in slower motion. Like, why would you cut off a revenue source? Why would you fuck over a studio whose whole sole job and purpose and reason for being bought was to make PC ports? Why would you shut down Bluepoint? Why would you deny every pitch or idea? Why would you not find something new? Why would you not just use them as support? There was only 70 people. So why are you spending so much money, on your other projects? How the fuck is Intergalactic going to cost more than $310 million? Like, there's the rumor also that came out of the second Sony Santa Monica game that's going to get announced this summer, and it's just more safety net stuff from them. I don't know if you heard about that one. That rumor.
Yeah, no, I did not hear about this one.
The rumor is that you're going to be playing as not Freya, but Faye, Kratos' waifu.
Oh, right. Oh, yes. No, yeah, I did hear about
Like,
this.
the rumor is now that you're going to be playing a prequel game as Atreus' mommy, before she met Kratos.
And it's going to be a faster action game.
Right. So to me, I'm like, okay, so more job security title.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're going to have the remake and then the wife, and they'll both be like happening simultaneously. So you're going to lead up to where they were in 2018 when you eventually, 10, 15 years down the road, remake 2018.
God. I don't know. We're going to be in this loop of remakes.
2036 when you remake that game, or 2035 or 2037, something like that.
Do you remember when people were speculating that the next God of War would be like, oh, they're going to go to like Egyptian mythology?
Yeah, wasn't that a nice idea? No, they went pure job security on this one.
We'll be remaking this one until the end of time.
Prequel to the Norse era, remake the Greek era, and then started off with a prequel of a prequel with also in the Greek era. So yeah, we're going nowhere fast.
The next couple years in the gaming industry is going to either be one of the most interesting times, because we're going to see upheaval, and we're going to see that usually is where innovation happens, right? Upheaval causes, or it's going to be one of the most boring times because everyone's going to be trying to play it safe to avoid upheaval.
Everyone is going to be trying to play it safe. And the thing is, I don't even know where we're going because there's so many layoffs because like even when gaming crashed in America specifically in the early 80s, it was still cheap to make a game. It took like a couple of dudes 9 months to make a video game. So
Yeah.
even if you wanted to gamble, well, video games are dead. Well, I'm going to take this gamble anyways. What's that going to cost you? A couple $1,000. And like in like the way, 9 months of like three dudes time, so like that's just so much less risk than we're now where it's like, okay, if games crash now because of all the many reasons they're piling on top of themselves, recovery is going to be weird and hard, and I don't know what they're going to do necessarily.
I think you're going to see a return to much more contained games and ideas. Like I think you're going to see more games like Silk Song, which is still an impressive game and still ambitious, but not, Resident Evil
I'm
9.
kind of hoping that like games like Invincible Versus and Avatar Legends, like the fighting game,
Yeah.
these sort of like small budget, it's a group of people, but not a huge group of people, not a huge budget, but
You're going to take the wrong lesson and believe that it's because it's IP, established IP, not because it's a contained, well-made game.
Right, but also
Like-
cheaper. My point is like you make kind of like a smaller game with a smaller team and a smaller budget, and you sell it for less, and it makes its money back. Like I think the return on it, I think what people, instead of chasing line must go up, you should just be looking on like ROI on a game's budget. But we're not at a point now where right now ROI means anything. It's how much does that ROI contribute to the year over year stock going up? Because the best and worst thing that's going to happen is if all the all the Wall Street gamblers abandon tech and gaming, especially and specifically, and just say it's a stagnant market and they all pull out.
Well, that is kind of what's happening with gaming. They're all leaving. Investors are leaving gaming because it's a mature market to invest in AI. So all the money's going to AI, and that's why all the companies are chasing AI.
Right, and
that's exactly what's happening.
The thing is that I kind of hope they do leave and kind of just don't come back, kind of thing, because I don't know, like. Frankly, the whole idea is like, well, you need investors to invest in your company to greenlight the game to get made and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you know what? No, maybe the best thing that can happen is the death of the publisher.
If you just get rid of executives' pay incentive being connected to stock price.
All that too. But I'm just saying, like, if we got rid of the publisher aspect where you have publishers who are not developers, this is kind of like formally what Activision was, where Activision had all these studios, all these developers, but Activision themselves is not a developer.
Right.
Activision is this monolithic entity run by a scumlord whose office is technically in Luxembourg, but really in Santa Monica. When he's not over on a specific island somewhere,
partying with not Howard Lutnick and not his wife.
Right. Like, it's like a publisher who doesn't really, again, the monolithic entity, they don't actually make the games that they're developing. They basically issue commands out like a Hydra, like the head of an octopus, to like grab all this stuff from my developers, so I can release this and make it great year over year, whatever. Like a developer publisher is good to me, is like kind of where the future needs to go. And like, yeah, that's aren't you basically saying indie? Kind of.
That is the model of success right now. Yeah.
I think indie, I don't know if Kepler is publicly traded. But let's say if Kepler isn't publicly traded, that's amazing, because that would mean that Kepler doesn't have to worry about anything other than the return on investment.
Yeah.
Did whatever money they helped float towards whatever project, like Expedition 33, did that make more money than they spent? Oh, did it make a lot of money? Great. Does it have to go out? Does he have to pay out dividends? No. But I mean, I guess I could look this up real quick.
Our last thought of the podcast will be like, well, Is Kepler publicly traded?
Is Kepler a publicly traded company? Kepler a public company? There's a bunch of Kepler Interactive. Is Kepler Interactive a public company? Ooh. Is not a public company. It is a private London-based video game publisher and a co-owned collective formed in 2021 by multiple independent studios.
No shit.
They raised significant private funding, approximately 120 million. They are structured as a private limited company rather than trading on a public stock exchange.
Love to see it.
So the future of gaming is probably in someone like that, who only concern is making more than they spend, which isn't that the way all business should be?
Yeah, it was pretty standard business school stuff.
Like, how fucked are we in this world where it's like, oh, things will be good if they can just make more money than they spend, like that's like this pie in the sky dream that just making more than we spend, and that's all we need to do. Imagine that. And it's like, why are we imagining this?
Stop hiring MBAs. That's all you got to do. On that note, we have got patrons to thank. If you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames podcast. The dude of the week was Kiona. Thank you, Kiona. And our producers for this episode are Dragon Wolf Makoto, Donglemeister, Zybernite, Tech Turtle, Scrunami, LCL Mayhem, and Ziggy Z. Thank you, dudes. We'll catch you next time.
Later, dudes.